Okay guys, we're going to do a simple test here. We're going to see what happens when we bind this orange receiver to this to the JR radio, JR11X 2.4. It's a DSM2 radio. And what I've been noticing and what I've been having problems with is this little servo is representing the throttle, and I've got it connected up to the throttle channel here. And what's happening is I've got the radio set at 0 throttle here, and after I bind and I simulate a radio failure by dropping or turning off the radio here, the servo representing the throttle will go from 0 to somewhere near max. This is completely dangerous, as you can imagine. If I had this connected up to my quad or an airplane, it would mean that that machine would just go full throttle and do whatever it's got to do. So but what I noticed is if I bind it to a different receiver that like this AR6000 here, exactly same procedure, exact same model setup and everything, that I can get the expected output I'm looking for, which is I want this throttle to stay at 0 position when I lose radio connection. So let's just take a look at what happens with the orange receiver here. This is the Orange R620X, and this is the one that I'm having a problem with. Okay, so at the moment I got the bind plug into the bind port. I've got the throttle servo here connected up to the throttle channel, and I will just find an empty channel to power the receiver up here and get it into bind mode. So polarity is all correct there. So let's give this a whirl. So there we go, we're in bind mode now. You can probably see the little light flickering. Okay, you'll probably notice that this servo is sticking right up. So that's not exactly 0 position, but let's put it in bind mode first. So I'm going to hold my finger down in the back of the radio, turn on the power, waiting for that solid light. Great. I'm going to let go my finger of the bind button here. Finger's off the bind button, and you'll notice that the servo now is in 0 position, and I'll just go ahead, pull the bind plug. There, bind plug's out. So let's just cycle both and I just want to note that if you look at the throttle's in the 0 position. Let's just cycle the power in all of these. So I'll take the power out of that guy, turn the radio off, and like all good modelers, I'll turn the radio on first. Radio's on. Okay, so I'm about to power the receiver. Now I expect that throttle to go or to stay in 0 position. That's what normally happens here. But what's going wrong is when I actually simulate the failsafe later. So let's power up. Okay, both are connected. So throttle up, throttle down, throttle up, throttle down. Okay, I'm going to put the throttle midway here. Throttle sticks midway. Here you go. And let's simulate a lost connection. Hopefully you can see what happens to that servo. So my expectation is it drops to the right, down, but watch what happens. Full up. That's not supposed to happen. So I've tried doing this a couple of ways, but no matter which way I try to bind here, I even tried the preset failsafe, which put your sticks in a certain position on your radio. Before you power up your radio, you power up the receiver in bind mode, but before you turn on your radio, you hold down the and put it in bind mode. You pull the bind plug on the radio, it's still blinking. Then you hold down the bind button, and first of all put your sticks where you want them to, hold down the bind button, turn on the radio in bind mode, and get your presets that way. Still the same result. still goes to the exact same position on the servo. Okay, so I'll keep the same model, but let's go ahead and try a different receiver. Okay, we'll put this guy away. Okay, here we have a Spectrum AR6000. So we'll put the bind plug in. In this case, I'm going to put it in the battery slot there. Okay, that guy's in. Next, I will put the throttle servo. Paying attention to the polarity. Put the throttle servo into the throttle channel, and then find an empty channel for the flight pack here. Okay, so hopefully you can see that little light down there blinking. I'm using a GoPro here, so it's not the best. Okay, so that's set up. Put my stick down in the 0 position, holding down the bind button, turning on the radio, waiting for that little light to go solid, and it just went solid, so that means we're bound. I'm going to release my finger, fingers off the radio. Okay, both of these are bound together. Okay, let's go ahead and pull the bind plug and cycle the power on this guy. Okay, turn my radio on. Connect my power. Something's not right, maybe. Oh, I think I know why. Of course, the wires are twisted. There we go. Got my signal wire connected wrong. Okay, back on the throttle channel for that servo, and then to connect the power. There we go. Okay, so 0 position stick, 0 position throttle. So full up, it's full throttle, back down. Okay, again, I will put stick midway, and I'll kill the radio, and we expect that throttle stick to go down to 0, and 1 second. We're going to see what happens. In this case, it was a success. We went to 0 throttle, not like the Orange receiver where it went full throttle after I killed the radio, so the radio's off. So there you go. Something strange is happening with this Orange receiver. It's not binding into Failsafe. Okay, that's it. Thank you.